I am live. Okay. Now, all right, let me turn this off. Sleep. All right. That doesn't seem like. All right, y'all. Might just be me tonight. I hope other people will join me. This is my first time trying to do a stream using Riverside Studio. So I'm kind of glad no one's here because then I get to experiment and see what is happening. And it seems like there's a delay between what I'm seeing on YouTube and on here. I don't know if I like this. This is just definitely odd. um, Definitely a delay. This tab is using your camera and microphone. Okay, got it. And I guess it's weird because there is a delay. Yeah, this is going to be taking some getting used to for sure. Stream study, stream health. All right. And how do I want to be able to do this. If you are watching me fumble through this, it's because I eventually want to be able to host um, interviews and have other really just other, you know, everyday people on. I know so many times I'll listen to podcasts and hear, you know, the credentials of all these people, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just, I'm just glad I'm alive today. I'm just glad. Oh yeah, I had this on because I lifted today, and it's also cold here, cold and rainy here in Texas. So yeah, I'm really hoping one of the moms I've met lately at the Chiefs game was pretty freaking amazing, and she just gave me her thumbs up for coming on and joining us probably sometime in April or May maybe. And she just has brilliant ideas. Like I sat down next to her and she taught about having a contract with your husband and the prenup that once or if you decided to stay home and raise kids, that you would be getting a wage, that you would be getting a salary for that, and that if that he ever cheated on you or abused you or did any of those things that would warrant a divorce, that you had that income coming in. And you know what? That would really help because I hadn't worked for 10 years. By the time I went back to work, I couldn't qualify for any home loans or any of that kind of stuff. And people don't think about that kind of stuff if you don't have a job and you've been a stay-at-home mom. You don't think about those kind of things. So, all right, I'm gonna give it a few extra minutes. So grab your coffee. This is also from that same mom, but you can't read it. It says, I've got 9 to 9 problems and white heteronormative, say that 5 times fast. I've got 99 problems and white heteronormative patriarchies, pretty much all of them. I would say is all of them. Yeah, no. I mean, the fact that so many of us women suffer from perimenopause and late diagnosed ADHD and other neurodiversity, that is a symptom of patriarchy for sure. All right. I think the thing, yeah, I'm gonna have to get some training on this, y'all. Um, I don't want to have to rely on looking at a different device to see if any other people have joined me. Okay, so it says concurrent views, but I think that's just me on my phone. I don't think that that's anybody else. So yeah, might be by myself. I should put it live on Substack because That's where I actually got the views. I don't know, maybe I'll be doing those on Substack more, but I really want them to live on YouTube as well. So I'm spilling my hot water. Okay. I think I am gonna go put it live on Substack. Oh, okay. Substack. Oh, let's see. Oh, how did I do this last time? Live. There we go. Auto title. Week 1 live Q&A. Oh, it's actually episode 1. Episode 1. Can I just do 1 return? Let's not email subscribers. Skip. Go live. Connecting. We send a push notification. Okay. All righty. Well, welcome, Substack. I'm down here over on YouTube as well. Oh, no, it's not live. It's not live on Substack. Ugh. I wonder if I'm going to be able to go in and like edit this off of YouTube so you all don't have to see all of this in the replay, because that would be, I don't know, maybe you'll laugh at my stuff. Okay, Substack is on. Hello, hello, hello. I am also down here on YouTube trying this out. I'm trying a streaming device for YouTube. And so I just really wanted to have this time to have an experiment to see how this works. Oh, I think that one is just me. I'm all by my lonesome. I guess maybe Saturday mornings is going to work better, but oh, I don't want to give up my whole weekend. I'm already working almost every single day. All right. Yeah, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. Oh, looks like maybe somebody is on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, I'm experimenting with a streaming service and trying to get my feet wet with this. And so if you can, oh, are these actual messages from somebody? Neil, are you still on? I'm trying to manage way too much stuff. ASD Patriarchy made that happen. Oh, thanks, Neil. I'm so glad that you understand my message that we live in a delusional world that we created in our own mind. We all do that, not just me. We all do that. So, why are you wasting your time being on this live with me if you don't want to hear what I have to say? But you are helping my algorithm, so please stay by all means. You are more than welcome. I love it. I love it. Yeah, this is my first time doing this, so I am just experimenting, kind of figuring out what's going on. Oh, I know you're making fun of me, Neil. I'm totally on board with what you're doing. Yeah. You're the one obviously wasting your time though if you're trying to make fun of me and trying to get me off of the internet. So, yeah, I'll wait you out, bud. Yeah. You know, you're also in your own delusional world. That's the proof of my work. All righty. I'm going to wait a few extra minutes. Yeah, we're just going to do that. All right, so I am just going to go ahead and move forward with recording what I was going to record for whoever wants to catch the live replay. And hopefully I can go back and edit that out so that YouTube doesn't scare you off there as I'm experimenting and figuring out how to use a streaming service. Do want to let you know that there are some great things in the works as this business really starts to pick up, as this, not business, as this education, I would say, but it is a business, right? Starts to pick up. I am reaching out to people I know, everyday people that I know that, let me do this a little bit better. So, no, that's not good. So that I can bring them on and have them conversate based on this information so that we can really start to peel back the layers of this patriarchal lens that I keep talking about and be able to see practical ways in our everyday life that we will be able to implement those things. And I think I know I said this at the beginning, I feel sometimes super intimidated by some of these people that come on podcast and YouTube stations, and they have all these credentials, and you just feel like, God, what have I been doing with my life? Which I've been doing a lot, don't get me wrong, but I want everyday people. I want people to be able to relate to the people that come on with me to do this podcast eventually, or this live stream, and really just get down to the meat of trying to figure out, again, how do we move forward into something called more of a partnership society. If you watched episode 1, you heard me talk about that with Rain Essler's work that she has done and that she's still doing around partnership societies, and how partnership societies really were around for 30,000 years, where patriarchy has only been embedded in the culture for about 3,500 years. It took 2,500 years to get to where it is. So that means it's only been around for about 3,500 years. So 6,000 years overall, which is, again, oh, now it's all ringing. Okay, so again, I apologize. I'm just getting used to some new software. Riverside is flashing at me saying that there are some comments. Oh, there's the chat. Studio chat. But I think it's probably because of the person. Yeah. Well, Nathan, if you're still on, Nathaniel, whatever you want to be called, you don't obviously have to watch. Yeah, he won't. Oh no, Nathan. Oh gosh, Neil, you're just so favorable. Yeah, I have a troller right now over on Facebook, or sorry, on YouTube, saying just such great. And I had blocked him. I put him on pause for like 24 hours and he's still coming through. People don't understand when they troll, they're actually proving my point. It's so lovely. So Nathan, if you're not Neil, I don't know how you came up. Oh, maybe you're through Riverside. Again, I am so new to this Riverside. I've only done lives on YouTube. So this is about deconstructing patriarchy. It is not about blaming men. So Neil, get off your high horse. It's not about you. I actually just released the third. So I did a first episode, which was 30 some odd minutes long, and it was really too much. So I broke it down into 4 smaller episodes about defining patriarchy, understanding the 10 steps that it takes to get into patriarchy, um, how this affects men and the elite, because it absolutely does. And I'm not about hating men. That is not what this is about. When I talk about patriarchy, and I encourage everybody to go watch the videos, I guess the 2 people I see on the live chat here on Riverside are from Riverside. If you can clarify that, where are you coming from? Why are you here? um, I is it anti-Trump? So my take is, yeah, I'm not a Trump fan. Let's just start there. This deconstructing patriarchy is taking a 50,000-foot vision and seeing how we got here based on the ideology that built patriarchy over 2,500 years. Patriarchy's only been around for 6,000 years. And human beings, Homo sapiens, have been around for 300,000 years. So patriarchy has only been 1.1 to 2% of our existence. So it's not been around super long. And that means we have something else to look back at, which is called partnership societies, and be able to do something else. So these lives, just to answer Madik's question, or no, maybe it's Nathaniel's question, if you're still on, is these lives are meant to come the week after the Wednesday. So I'm trying to release the episodes on Friday and then be able to do a live Q&A based on those episodes, just be able to answer questions and help people interact with this material a little bit better. And yeah, so if you haven't watched the episodes, a lot of this might not make any sense. But this is also my first one. So I just released episode 1 on Friday of last week. Again, felt it was way too long. So I quickly went through and just made it into 4 separate episodes. You can get that on my YouTube channel called Deconstructing Patriarchy. And we will probably do this again next week when I get my feet are wet and I get a little bit more experience. I'm also over on Substack. Hello, Nadia. Good to have you, sweetie. I'm down here on YouTube as well, and just telling people what this is about. Don't know if I'm going to be able to continue to do this because it just feels really like I really wanted this to be kind of a class session, right? So you watch everything the previous week or, before you come to the live session, and then be able to answer any of your questions that you might have if you are, coming into the live session. So kind of like the office hours, I guess, if you will. Maybe that's what I should call it, office hours. So Nadia, did you watch the videos and did you have any questions? Debbie, you as well. Did you watch the 1, 2, 3, 4 episode 1, which came out last Friday, I believe, on Substack? And then today I just said, hey, I'm breaking these down on my Substack so that we can get little quick, more bite-sized, more manageable pieces to work with this material. Let me know if you all was able to watch that, and if you have any questions directly related to that. So I'm also down here on YouTube, and I'm streaming through a service called Riverside. And some people found me through Riverside. I mean, this is going to get way too confusing for me. And then I have a troller over on YouTube that is just making me laugh because then answer the question you have ignored 3 times on how the page. Why are you still on? Get off. Go do your life. You're not interested in what I have to say, and you're just going to use my time. So you know what? Yeah, you're blocked. Go report. Yeah, he's gone. Anyways, trollers just make me laugh because honestly, they're just proving my point. And no, I'm not going to waste my time answering your questions because it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. So, all right. So I don't know. I think what Substack does is it tells me when people join, but it doesn't tell me when you left. So if you're still here, Substack, I was going to start us off with a somatic exercise to help us deal with anxiety. And we did this on Saturday, and it's just one of my favorite exercises. Sorry, I'm just trying to manage between work and adjusting. Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. That sounds great, Nadia. All right, so this somatic exercise, so somatic, if you don't know, means of the body. That's all it means. And Peter Levine pioneered this work called somatic experiencing, I think maybe back in the 80s or 90s, when he had a daughter who ended up choking and going to the ER and having to do some medical care for the choking. And then the next day, she was trying to like move her body and integrate the choking experience. And this just turned him on to the idea that the body needs a way to integrate the energy that's coming in at it or any of the traumatic events that we have. And then he started to look at nature, and he saw that animals do this often, that they do this, what we call a somatic shake, to reset the nervous system and help adjust the energy that's flowing into and through the body at any point in time, especially if we've had a huge traumatic experience or a small one. So a car alarm going off and shaking you out of your, moment of hyper focus could be a traumatic event. So I like to think of trauma as nothing more than excess energy coming in or at you into your body, into your energetic system, that we need to figure out a way to help integrate. So he invented this somatic, well, not really invented, but started teaching this thing called the somatic shake, which just helps do exactly what I just said. It helps to integrate and disseminate and to dissipate the energy, if you will. So if you think of a slinky, I don't know, Nadia, if you know what a slinky is, but we had them here in America. Um, and they, go down the stairs and there are these wire coils. Hold on just a sec. There are these wire coils that allow it to go down the stairs in a really fun way. And I like to think of that as the spinal cord. So if nothing happens to the wire coils, it will slink its way down the stairs. But if it starts to get too much pressure, the coils will start to get out of line and it won't be able to do what it needs to do. And that's a lot like our spinal column, our nervous system. So when we have too much energy coming in and we're not dissipating that energy, it gets stacked into our body. So I think of like, I used to work in personal training. A lot of people are like, there's no flexibility to their muscles. They're just super, super hard. That means that they're not moving the energy out of their body. So somebody that has a full range of motion, that is able to do a forward bend or be able to pull their arms backwards, that just means that they've been moving their energy. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to go back here to my yoga mat. Let me turn this just a little bit. And you're going to see me do, it's a little bit harder on the YouTube, but let's see if I can do it like this. You're going to see me do what's called the somatic shake. So I'm going to take this. It's going to be a little, I've realized when I hold this, it's not as good. But the somatic shake is essentially you're going to raise up onto your toes and then down to your heels. If you have any knee joint issues or any back joint issues, just do a little one. But you want your knees soft, but not locked. You don't want them too soft that you're going to go all over the place, but you don't want them locked, meaning you don't want to do that. If you can see that, you want them soft. And then the motion is really on the drive down. And what that's going to do is it's going to send this energy up the spine and start to release some of that energy in the spine. And after you've done that for a couple of minutes, no, we're not going to do it for a couple of minutes. Oh my gosh, no, this is set to 15 minutes. I set up to 15 seconds earlier. Come on. Oh gosh. Why? All right, y'all, this is really, I set it to 15 earlier. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do this for 15 seconds. So I'm going to give you a demonstration. I'm actually going to have to set this down through here because I don't want it to vibrate as I'm doing this. So I'm going to do it from the two different angles, and then you'll join it with me, and we'll do it for 15 seconds. So again, you're going up on your toes and down on your heels with soft knees, and you'll just see that drive down kind of starts shaking everything, and then I can go faster. And just let your arms be spaghetti. I mean, it's just like Taylor Swift says, just shake it out, shake it out. I love doing this with some drum beat type music. All right, so that's the front angle. Here's the back angle. Yeah, putting this on YouTube. You're just driving that energy down so that the shaking goes up your spine. You're letting your arms be jelly. You can even, if you feel comfortable, let your head be jelly. And you can go off the rails. Woo! And that is the somatic shake. And when you do this long enough, so I usually start people off with 10 to 15 seconds and then take a break, 10 to 15 seconds. If you do this up, work your way up to a minute afterwards, oh my gosh, you are going to feel amazing. Like you will be in an altered state. So just keep that in mind. Okay. On your marks, get set. 15 seconds on the clock. Ready and go. Oh, now it'll beep us. Yeah, you can see all my jiggles. If I can do this on the internet, so can you do it at home. All right, that was 15 seconds. Now just stop. Take a deep breath in. Hopefully this actually should help you to release some energy around the lungs. If you are able to take a deeper breath in, close your eyes if you want to. Your feet can either, I like to have them hip width apart. Forgot to say that. And just feel, I've done this a couple times, so I'm already feeling really good. Let's go ahead and do it again. And go. I like to make sign breaths out. And stop. Just hold your spot. I'm going to turn that off so we don't have to hear it. And again, you can keep doing this as much as you need to. It's great to do before bed if you just can't get anything to stop. If your mind's racing, doing the hamster wheel, it's really, really good. So now, if you have a blanket nearby, this is one other tool I teach after doing the somatic shake. Wrap yourself up like a burrito. And if you have a rocking chair, whoop, wrong way. Come on. If you have a rocking chair, then you can do a little rocking. And this, again, is another somatic tool. There's a reason our bodies like motion. Our minds are programmed by our emotion, believe it or not. I get into that in episode 4, or maybe it's 3. No, 4, 3. I can't remember. 1C or 1D. And then just sit for a moment and see if that doesn't help you feel a little bit more spaciousness. I'm going to stop talking for a second. Alrighty. Oh my gosh, I'm ready for bedtime now. So hopefully you'll remember. We'll probably continue to do the somatic shake on the lives because they're just such a great way to shake off all of the energy from everything that's going on in the world. So I said this on my live on Saturday. Nadia, I think you're the only one here. I don't know if you're still here, but so the point of these lives is not to we're having a storm here. To recapture or rehash is the word I want. All of the that's happening in the American political system right now. There are plenty of other people doing that. I want to be more proactive. I want to focus on what we can do in order to start mobilizing ourselves. Yay! Thanks, Nadia. So that I don't know how applicable this will be to you for you in Mexico if you're down in Mexico. But that's awesome for me to know too, because one of the things I'm really encouraging for people to do is not to rely on the internet for information and on the news media, but to reach out to people in foreign countries when we hear stories about stuff going down and getting the real deal so that we know we're not being misled. So I might be reaching out to you to just get some more info if things are happening down there. You'll have to share where you are, but you don't have to do that here. So again, yeah, I really want this to be place A for us to review the previous week's lesson and see what questions people have. And if there aren't questions, then I'll always try to have something in store for us to talk about, or we can just hang out and do more somatic exercises and leave feeling really ecstatic and amazing and transcendent, which will be fine too. But well, I lost my train of thought now. But yeah, really wanting to also use this time to stay informed of what's happening that we can take action on. Again, Nadia, I apologize. It's going to be mostly here in the US, but maybe there'll be some stuff in Mexico, and feel free to share if there's things that you need us to know. And if I get more people from Mexico. Sorry, I'm looking at my little to-do list here for us tonight. So something that really happened or is happening here in the state of Texas, if you're seeing this in the replay, that I actually ran and wrote a post about, and Nadia, I did not send people the post because it was just going to be too much, but it's on my Substack, and it's about the school voucher, the school choice system. So I wrote up a little thing because I took action on that today. I reached out to my only Germany, Switzerland, and the Netherlands I've lived. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you were living here in the States, Nadia. You know what? Let's not do that now because I don't want to confuse people. But I want to talk to you more. Okay. So yes, so the school vouchers, the school choice, I wrote a post about it on my Substack. I'll have a link for you. I have a link for it in the YouTube replay. And it's just important for us to know this type of information. Oh, it looks like I froze. Oh, there we go. And it's so important for us okay, gotcha, Nadia. Awesome. Um, to know what's really happening. And, when I was a Christian, I was all about the school choice, kind of. I still thought it was weird. I didn't really know how it worked. Now I know how it works, and it's using taxpayer money to go towards 66% of private schools, and 66% of private schools are religious, and the great majority of that 66% is Christian. So not a good thing for us to be using our taxpayer dollars for, because Christian schools here in America tend to be dominated by the white and dominated by white men and white Christian nationalists. And they're teaching, a very white Christian polished down history. It's just not something we really want our tax dollars going to. So I took action, and then I recorded all the information that I did and used to craft my emails to the senators, or this House and the House and Senate state representatives, not federal, but state. And sharing that on YouTube or on Substack, so people can have that information and kick off their own research. So they're not just trusting me, but doing their own research as well. But want you to know that school choice is really about racism, because our private schools started because of the racist issue. So white people didn't want their kids going to school with interracial children. Yeah, wouldn't you know? All right, so that was one thing I wanted to share. And then the other thing that I found today, that I have a link, and I'll put a link in the Substack as well, but I listened to this thing called the Love Note to Suburbia. I don't remember her name right now, but again, I have it in the YouTube description. And this really just got me thinking, because when I practiced what I called conscious apathy for 12 years, that's when basically I had been a right-wing Tea Partier, woke up, left the Christian world, left the Republican Party, went and voted for the Democrats the second time that Obama was in the office. The first time I thought he was the Antichrist. Second time I voted for him. And then I didn't like what I saw happening in the Democratic Party either. I felt there was a lot of blaming and just being just as mean to the Republicans as the Republicans were being to the Democrats. And I just didn't like any of that. So when I was a Tea Partier, I had read this book, and I wish I could remember what the book was, but it talked about how the last stage of any government is apathy. And now I found myself in a conscious world, the conscious dance world. Conscious, it's not always that conscious. And I was like, well, let's put these two things together. And then there's this third part of that practice for me, that conscious apathy practice, was the quote by Einstein that says, you can't create something new in the same energy that created it. And when I applied this to what was going on with patriarchy, I was like, well, that makes sense. I mean, I think Gandhi says this, and Nelson Mandela, and some really progressive Christians. Okay, it's going to thunder again. Hold on just a second so I don't get startled. Or maybe not. It's going to catch me off guard here. We'll just do the somatic shake, and I'll just look like this on YouTube. It's not that bad. Okay. And so when I read all of this and put all of this together under that conscious apathy practice, it wasn't that I was just not participating in politics and in the social political system. It was that I was actively looking at how can I create community in my own world, and create it in such a way that it could be an experiment for other people possibly to, kind of like a franchise model, if you will. And so that was my goal. I got started with that, with the conscious dance. I called it movement medicine when I was in Nashville, but then 2020 happened and everything shut down, and I was never able to pick it back up. So all of that has been in the back of my mind as I've been starting this work and kicking this work off back in September, October, and of course November when the election happened. And then I heard this episode today, a love letter to Suburbia, by this author. She was interviewed by Larissa, who writes, she's a historian on Substack. Fascinating. Again, I'll have all the links down below. And she's not a urban planner, but she's just talking about something that I've also keyed into, is the fact that we think suburbia and having to drive everywhere is, our freedom, when in actuality, it's actually strapping us to this dying economic system, and it's taking our power away from local communities and the local economy and our, community watchdog, if you will. So she's just talking about how if we got back to more of a walkable type of community neighborhood, then we would be able to actually have power again. And we, if we drove money into local businesses, those local businesses of course are paying attention to the politics, and they're going to be able to have money and time and energy and people that will support them to, do the, do the measures that need to be done, or to not do the measures that need to go away. And so, again, I encourage you to go listen to the podcast. It's like 30 minutes. I always listen to everything, even YouTube, on like 1.2 or 1.25, so I can take in more content. Ugh. Patriarchy, right there, capitalism, right? But no, really, this is good stuff. So that just gave me a big aha moment that, again, this idea of partnership societies that I mentioned in 1A, or the full episode of episode 1 with Rain Eisler, is this is a first step that we can really take to move back to partnership societies. And I don't know, maybe Nadia, you're finding that there in Mexico. But I know for me personally, as I've aged, I would like to do away with being in a house by myself as a single person. I'd love to live in more of a community type of environment where I can walk to my groceries, I can walk to restaurants, I can walk to a local bar, cafe, or whatever, where I don't have to get in the car all of the time, and have more of that European lifestyle. And I even want to look at maybe moving back to Europe just because of something like that, or maybe on the Mediterranean coast or something. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, as that is the type of forward thinking stuff that we're doing. So we're not just deconstructing ideas and ideology. That's only one part of the work here on this channel. We're also looking towards how we can rebuild our stories. And that's why I'm writing the historical fiction novel about Mary Magdalene being the Jesus, and not just Jesus being the Christ. Sorry, Mary Magdalene being the Christ, and teaching Jesus all this stuff about the Christ, and rewriting our stories, because we're allowed to do that. Neil over on YouTube there was telling me I was super delusional and just making all this stuff up in my head. I'm like, well, we all are. And that's the point of my channel. And that's the point of this first season, is to show us how much more myth history is than we think it is, and how little fact it actually is, and how much room there is to get creative and to rewrite our stories, especially our creation and cultural country identity stories. The map is not the territory. This is one of the tools I give. Again, I can't remember, everything's blending together. But this is a coaching tool that I learned when I went through my coaching program, but I used it as one of the exercises, I think in 1C, pretty sure it's in episode 1C that I just put out this afternoon on YouTube. On Substack, you'll get it on Friday, I think. And the map is not the territory, meaning when you're looking at a map, it's a map. It's not the actual physical land in front of you. And when we're looking, at the world, we're looking through this patriarchal lens that has developed a map for our brain to follow, whether it be gender roles, how we speak about men and women versus women and men. That's another little exercise tool plug I'll put in there, to help you start putting women first, even in your language. Makes a huge difference. But the map is not the territory, meaning what we've constructed in our head of history, of biology, well, maybe not biology as much, but sociology, of religion, is not the actual territory. It's not the complete full picture of history. And so therefore there's a lot of room to create new maps and create new stories and to move in new directions. So that's the intellectual work we're doing, and then rewriting the stories as part of it, and then actually getting active in our communities and redesigning our communities to move more towards this thing. Yes, patriarchy is bad. Well, again, map is not the territory. Patriarchy at this point in stage, and I need to start using this language more, is more of a dominator. So Nadia, this is a comment from Riverside. it's more of a dominator type of structure, and that you get into in episode 1A on on deconstructing patriarchy. Patriarchy in and of itself is not bad. It just means that the male line is how the family goes, how heritage and wealth is passed down, and that men get to rule. In practice, yes, it's been bad, because what happens is there's no check for the male ego. And the male ego is about, and this is, not everyone, but in general, the male ego is more about competition and fights and aggression. Well, that's what we've cultured the male ego to be. I don't know if that's exactly, because I mean, I've seen things, I'm now taking back my words. I've seen things of different cultures, like Native Americans. They don't train their men up that way. It's just how we've cultured men. And I have two boys and can say this is absolutely true. There's a book, totally going off tangent, called the Male Brain. And she wrote first the female brain, and then she wrote the male brain because she was curious to research it. And she's a doctor, scientist. And she actually proved through science that the male brain is more emotional than the female brain, but we train them out of their emotionality. And having two boys, I can tell you, they were super emotional when they were younger. And the first one, I was still pretty much of a, MAGA woman before MAGA was around. Um, and so, would tell my little boy, be tough when he hurt himself, and don't cry, be tough, be tough. And then the second one came around. I'm like, no, I was out of that world. So I was like, you cry all you want, move through your emotions all you want. Um, yeah. So yes, it being anti. So, and that's what I really make a point in that first episode is patriarchy. When I mention that word, is about the social structure. It's not about blaming men. It's not about blaming anyone. It's about understanding what type of social structure we are in that's invisible in this day and age. We can't see it because it's been hidden in the ideology that we've built the society on. And this is why, like, I proved to you why the ideology that women are second class citizens, that we're second, we're not equal to men, is through the ideology that built patriarchy. But it's not true. It's not the territory. There was thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years where women were, it was a matriarchal or matrilineal type of society, which is not the same as matriarchy. That would just be the opposite of patriarchy. But matrilineal or matrifocal just means that the heritage passed down through the mother line. And what that did is it actually took out this male ego to know who exactly their sons were. And it forced the men, because there's still communities in the world like this, to actually take care of all of the kids and to not try to have their kid above the other kid. And it just took out a lot of that male ego that is not in check right now. And, I mean, another stat I could throw in here is they're proving that businesses do better under women because of the traits women bring to leadership. Yes, again, I make that point in that first episode. That's when you're probably dealing more with narcissism. And of course, there's always exceptions to the rule. And that's why I'm trying to take the 50,000-foot vision and not the every single incident vision, right? So Nadia, he just said that some women can be over dominant too. Absolutely, absolutely. And they're, probably more narcissists, which feels really weird when narcissism shows up in women, but it shows up in women just as much as it does not just as much, but it does show up in women. It does show up more in men. And there was something else I was going to say about that. Some women. Oh, so that's taking the 50,000-foot vision. It's what really helped me pull myself out of the toxic, abusive, narcissistic relationships I had been in. And Dr. Ramani is the foremost expert on narcissism. And this is what she says. She says, when you look at the individual actions that a narcissist is doing, you're just swimming in that information and you can't make high or hell water sense out of it. But when you pull up and you start to look at the patterns, then you start to see your way out of that toxic, abusive, narcissistic relationship. And that's what we have to do with patriarchy, is we have to stop looking at all the shit that's going on, pardon my French, um, on an individual level. Like, we know he's going to do wild and crazy stuff. We know he's going to appoint the completely incompetent, not merit-based type people to these offices. We need to keep one foot, maybe one pinky toe in that world to understand what's happening. Absolutely. So we can take action against it and stand up against it. Absolutely. But we don't need to be swimming in that because we know he's going to do that. We need to stay up here at that 50,000 foot vision and really see the patterns that we don't want to keep on recreating and be able to move out of it. And the only way we're going to do that is to be able to take that patriarchal lens off, put a different lens on, rewrite our stories, and then get moving on those new stories. So hopefully that makes sense. It would make more sense once you've watched. And Nadia, I don't know if you've seen, but I'm putting the videos on there so you can listen to them. But they are super, super meaty. They are, like, I would say a college level, or at least a junior college level course. Yeah, they're super, super meaty. So, all right, y'all. I don't really think I had anything else that I was going to say, and we've already been going for almost 45 minutes. So does anybody else, I'm just going to jump over. Yeah, there's nobody on YouTube. Anybody else have any other questions or comments about what I've said tonight? And Medak, if you're still on here, let me send you, well, hold on. My YouTube, so you can get access. Just to be really easy, I'll put it in the chat box, in the chat for you down there. So let me actually give you the playlist. And if you just, the playlist should be, nope, that's the wrong one. Yeah. Sorry, my computer is going super slow because I have this thing streaming. It's just taking up so much capacity. Nope, that's not it either. Oh, I had the link somewhere else. That would have been easier. Okay. So Medak, here is. Good. I'm glad. What did you learn, Medak? Can you share what you've learned? Are you in America? Are you in the US? Okay, so there's the playlist where we're doing these episodes. Again, the first one is a trailer, actually. The second one is the full episode that I saw was way too much and decided to break it down into 4 smaller episodes. But those 4 smaller episodes now have additional material in it and additional exercises and tools at the end of each one to help you really integrate the content that you're learning. Doppelganger was scary. Oh, Nadia, what do you mean by Naomi Wolf? I know her from a book I read years ago, but what are you mentioning about that? And I'm going to drink some water because my throat's hurting from talking so much. I don't think either of you were on here at the beginning, but eventually, once I've built this channel up more and have my, more of these episodes out and more momentum going, I do plan on bringing on other people. Everyday people is my goal. I don't want to bring on, I mean, I probably will bring on big names if I can get them. Like Tia Levings wrote Well-Trained Wife, and she's kind of become a big name right now in the deconstruction movement of evangelicals and fundamentalism. But I really want to bring in everyday people because I feel like it's less intimidating to talk to everyday people and be, I'm an everyday person. I would consider myself an everyday person. So yeah, I really hope to bring more people on and have more dynamic conversations like that because honestly, like I know I can talk a lot, but I'm kind of bored and I'm not bored, but it's not the right word. I kind of feel weird talking to myself on these lives without the Zoom interaction. I was so used to Zoom there for a while. Oh, okay. Naomi Klein. I don't know Naomi Klein. What's her book? Oh, and I don't know if you can see it. It's backwards, but I did get that book. I did start reading it, but then I got involved in creating this channel series, so I haven't returned to it. But this is the next thing I'm deconstructing is feminism, the word feminism, because I didn't really understand it. So I am still in the process of deconstructing from my right-wing politics, not religion, but politics more so. I was raised in the Midwest as a diehard Republican, Reagan era. So I thought Reaganomics was just the greatest thing ever, and really did up until I started to educate myself better this last few years, or no, sorry, these last few months. This last election cycle is when I really started to get educated. Klein wrote, "No logo, the shock doctrine, and more." Oh my gosh, you're so well read, sister. Okay, hold on. I just saw something on YouTube. I just want to double check. No. Okay. All right. Um, Utah. Awesome. I want to go to Utah. Utah is still on my list. Yes, lots of patriarchy in Mormon country. Yeah, you're right up there with the white. I mean, I would say Mormons are probably also white Christian nationalist. Yeah, the Mormon religion needs to listen to what you have to say. Thank you. I think everybody does. I think because even people that think they've deconstructed patriarchy, I don't know. The book that I'm talking about a lot, which is what Nadia found me on. I think you found me because I was talking about this book. It's called The Creation of Patriarchy by Gerda Lerner. There's two in the series that she wrote. One is this one, the first one, and then The Creation of the Feminine Consciousness. And the feminine consciousness, she couldn't write that one because she needed to figure out how we like kept losing the feminine consciousness. And I think she was specifically talking about, because of patriarchy, women had to reinvent the wheel for feminine consciousness every, I don't know, couple hundred years because it got lost because of patriarchy, right? Which makes sense. Today, so she wrote these books in the 80s, 1980s. I relate the feminine consciousness because I think men are waking up their feminine consciousness, that more compassionate, collaborative, networking, kindness. Like, we can't keep going to war. We're going to destroy our planet. Like, no joke. So I like to say feminine consciousness is not just the feminine anymore, but it's everybody. And so I lost my point where I was going with that. But these books, I mean, this is what really kicked off my journey. And when when I listened to historians, and that was something I wanted to do tonight, I totally forgot. So I'm watching the great courses on YouTube, not YouTube, but I don't know. It's like $2.99 through Prime or something like that to do the great courses. And there was one on ancient civilizations that I wanted to listen to. And he talks about the four civilizations: the Mesopotamians, the Egyptians, the Chinese, and then there was the Indus Valley, I think. And the Indus Valley, it's this male guy talking about these great civilizations. And he's just so baffled because most historians, and she talks about this in her book, that most historians look at life and history from that male patriarchal perspective, that lens that I keep talking about. So they're not able to see outside of it. So when they see this Indus Valley that has no depiction of war in the art, there's no temples, there's no king's palace, they're just confused by it. Well, the rest of us that are studying this information be like, well, they're probably more of a partnership society, and that's what we need more research on so we can do more of it practically in this day and age. So, all right. Any other questions or thoughts before we leave, y'all? If not, we'll do this again next Wednesday, and we'll keep doing it until hopefully next Wednesday. I don't know. I might play around with the date and time. I had more people show up at Saturday at 10 a.m. I just don't want to devote every Saturday of my life to being online. I'm really getting to that point where I think I need to take at least one day off a week. Back when I was little, when Reagan called the USSR the evil empire, I knew that he was lying, and in the reverse of the roles he claimed to be. Also, the 1980 October surprise. I think you might be a little older than me, Nadia, so I'm not sure. I was only 3 then, in 1980. Plus, I felt the Vietnamese were the underdog heroes even before that. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to talk more. See, so again, that's more of the like down in the muck picture of what's going on, where I've been up here at the 50,000 foot vision, but now I'm like so fascinated by so many of these events. I love it. I was in the single digits too. Okay. Yeah, you're blowing my mind. Okay. anything else before we say goodnight? Stay tuned. Stay tuned on Substack. Stay tuned on YouTube in case I make changes to this, just as I play around and figure out what the best day for everyone is. Nadia, if there's a better day and time for you, let me know. I was trying to keep these between like 30 and 45 minutes. I am long-winded. All right, Majik, it was so nice to meet you. I hope you got that link and great information. Thanks, Nadia. I appreciate it, sweetie. So much love. Bye-bye. Toodaloo. Ciao. Until next time. Make sure you check out the YouTube, Majik. All right. Bye. I don't know how to end it, actually. Oh, there. Stop. Oh, you're fine, Nadia. You're fine. You're fine, sweetie. All right. We'll see you later. Mm. And stream. And okay.